Okay, Tracy, I saw this topic, and it's actually interesting because it's one of those topics that comes up in the realtor community, and we chat like, what does this mean? So the question is, what's included and what's not included with a home sale? So what's part of the house and what's not part of the house? And in our world, we say it's real property or personal property, or sometimes we use the term fixture versus personal property, right?
Right. So real property versus personal property. It's really interesting because a lot of times what the buyer thinks is staying with the house and what the seller thinks they're leaving with the house can be two different things. So
Yes.
best advice is to clarify up front anything that might appear as though it is going to stay. But generally, Tego, I love your analogy. Tell us. I can't take your thunder.
Well, and I got this from another realtor years ago, and they said, a good way to define what's included and what's not included, or what's, a fixture or personal property, is if you turn the home upside down and shake it, everything that falls out is personal property and generally does not stay with the house.
See, I love that. I didn't want to say it for you
Yeah.
because you teach that a lot. So things like on our purchase agreement, it says curtains should stay with the house, right?
Well,
It says rods.
yeah, well, it gives the opportunity to make sure that it's clear in the purchase agreement if it stays or if it does not stay, right?
There's
Yeah.
a whole list, though, in our purchase agreement that says what should stay. So it gets murky, though. Like some people say, like, a TV is affixed to a wall. Does the TV stay? Does the TV holder stay?
The bracket,
The
yeah.
bracket, because it's bolted in. If there's, I've had really common where it's a home office and somebody has bolted their files, their open shelving or whatever, to a wall so that it doesn't fall over and kill a child, right? Does that stay because now it's affixed to the house?
Right. And that's one of the things. So if you need a tool to remove it, then maybe it's probably a fixture that stays with the house. But that would be a great example of that gray area and like not sure.
Right. We have a few things in our house that we have affixed to the walls for safety because we have a lot of people's young kids over and we don't want them to have something fall on them because they climb on it, right? So it's really good to clarify. But that's one of the things that's really important when buyers are putting offers together, if there's anything that they clarify. To make sure whether it stays or not. The other thing, Tego, is it physically attached? It usually stays, but like think about a garage door opener, right?
Well, so
it's not attached.
Right. Well, you've got the garage door opener that's attached to the house.
Clicker.
But you've got the clicker, which is an integral part of that system. So
right. Those types of things should stay, right?
Yeah. And again, they need to be defined in the purchase contract so everybody's very clear. Refrigerator is probably the biggest one that comes up, right?
A lot of refrigerators look these days like they're built in, right? They're counter depth built in look, but they're not really built in. So it's really important that if you want that refrigerator, that it's on the purchase agreement. We have the opportunity to exclude things that are typically included. So this isn't a great example, but a lot of times people in like one of the bedrooms, they have curtains that match their bedding, that match their pillows. And, to be really clear, you say, I'm going to take those curtains, and they might have special curtain rods, or they might have a dining room chandelier that was grandma's. And in that case,
I love that example because that comes up a lot. So you've got this antique chandelier or antique light fixture, let's say, and you want to exclude it from the sale. You definitely don't want it included when you sell the home. What's the best advice for somebody on that?
So it might not be an antique. It might be the one you just bought when you were in Scottsdale shopping and it's special to you. My advice is put up a new light fixture and box that one up. You're moving anyway. Don't even let the buyers see it because all of a sudden that's what they're going to want.
And before you do photographs too, because I've heard of cases where in the listing, in the photographs in the MLS and they market it, there's something that's there that's attached in the photos. And then when the buyer comes to buy the house, it's not there any longer, and say, well, you marketed it with that piece in there. So you just want to be very clear what's included and what's not.
Piggybacking on what you just said.
Yeah.
So it's in the photos, but it wasn't in the house when you looked at it. But think of how many people are buying houses today just with a video tour.
Good point.
And to really see and notice that light fixture has been changed out with a cell phone tour of the house, you want to be really clear. So what about things outside the house?
Well, let me bring up one other thing that's come up more recently, which are things like a Ring doorbell or a Nest thermostat. You know, you paid
Video
$300.
cameras.
Yeah, video cameras. You paid $300 for a Nest thermostat. Well, if your intention is to keep your Nest thermostat, well, maybe you should switch it out. You know,
Put back the old one.
right? Exactly, or the Ring doorbell or something like that. And there's this argument out there. Well, if you need Wi-Fi to work for the Ring doorbell to work, isn't that an integral part of the whole house system? And you can make an argument that it is. But again, it just goes back to make sure all that thing's clear. Audio equipment, right? Built-in audio equipment. It can go on and on. So it's more just making sure everybody's on the same page when you go under contract.
I remember a big controversy about a year ago, and it was with regard to receivers and things that make the built-in speakers go, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And remember that a lot of times things that a seller thinks they're not leaving with a home suddenly become negotiable because the buyer saw it. So we've seen buyers, you know, this is outside of what lending will allow. So I'm talking cash buyers or a separate bill of sale, right?
Sure.
But suddenly they want all the furniture,
Yeah.
or they want the living room set, or
Yep.
they want the dining room set, or they saw things in the home and it just looks so good, they want it, you know. And
you said something really quick. I just want to go back to is you can include personal property in the sale of a home. It's just the lender's not going to give it any value to it. Yeah.
Right. So sometimes the purchase agreement in the other section, it says that the refrigerator, washer, and dryer shall convey and stay with the home. So a lot of times we have to clarify and add on to that sentence. It says in as-is condition at no value with no warranty. Right. Yeah. So the lender can say, great, you can do that, but it's as is. Well, it's no value. Because the appraiser's not going to give value to it.
Right.
Yeah. Outside things?
Yeah, outside things. Sorry. Yes, you started to go there and I interrupted you.
It would be the same, right?
Yeah.
But
like a fountain.
Yeah.
You better clarify that one.
Yeah.
Right? How about a concrete bench in the backyard?
Got to clarify those things. Yeah. There's a lot of, remember that house we sold last year in Quintessence, and there was a lot of personal art, and it was big, heavy art type things like handcrafted bench and seating area where the person was a woodworker, and it was very built in. And a lot of that, we were very specific on what was staying and what wasn't. So always good to be clear.
Got it.